Minute. Okay, so we learned solid principles yesterday, correct? So we understood that it is like the base, it is like a guideline that how do we design our systems. Now the thing is that we learned classes, we learned objects. Let's take a few examples of classes and objects. Like suppose in Swiggy, Zomato, one. Uh, Guys, mute yourself. I can hear some echo. Yeah, cool. So suppose there is an order and there is a customer, or suppose in Amazon there's a product. So now how is product and order related? Or how is a driver and a customer related? Or how is driver and ride or customer and ride? All of these classes related, right? So that is what brings us to the next topic, the most important topic that we'll be covering today, the relationships between the classes. Basically, how are we going to structure the classes together? So we are going to learn basics today. These are completely code in the like language independent. So you don't have to think of any language. These are concepts and we should understand this before we can move ahead in LLD at all. Does it make sense till here? Everyone with me? Relationships between the classes? Yes? Cool. Thank you. So yesterday we already saw one relationship. Can you tell me in chat what was that relationship that we already saw, that we discussed yesterday?
Composition.
Is a relationship.
Composition is which is inheritance. Now I know beginners might be thinking, what is a, what is we discuss inheritance, yes, but what is a, right? So let's quickly discuss it. Can you give me a real life example of inheritance? Like, so what will be the base class? What will be the derived class? Anyone can give me an example? Any example from Swiggy, Zomato, Uber, Ola, Amazon, Chess, anything? By order is
By
an
order
order.
is an order.
Good. Okay, so there is an order and then there is by order. Okay, so order becomes a base class and by order becomes a derived class, correct? But as Rahul wrote it like this only, that by order is an order, right? So that is why this is called is a relationship. So basically, whenever you will be doing inheritance, you'll be talking about is a relationship, and that should be true, and that will come by intuition eventually. See, let's look at the examples that you guys have said. Driver is an user, so it will be like user and then driver, right? So user is a base class and driver is a user, correct? Does it make sense to everyone? Let me take more examples that you guys are posting. So Utkarsh is saying piece and queen, right? So, okay, so in chess, there's a piece and then there is queen. So queen is basically a piece. Similarly, king is also a piece. Bishop is also a piece, correct? So these are all pieces. Now, when we talked about when we talk about inheritance, we talked that we are going to extend some properties, right? So whatever is there in the base class, that is going to be there. The data members are going to be there. The functions are going to be there in the derived class as well. Plus, we're going to add some properties. So whatever is there for an order, like suppose some timestamp is there, or two, like who has placed the order, or the date, time, all of that is there. But in buy order, probably there is buying price or something, some extra information because you're buying maybe delivery addresses there that was not there in the order one, right? So maybe such things you have to see that what extra are you adding? Do you actually need to inherit or not? Some cases I have seen, like yesterday we saw an example where I was asking that you are saying that you're going to inherit, but what will be the difference between the base class and the derived class? You remember I was asking what properties are you actually extending? Let me see which example was that. So do you guys remember? Yes, so it was not
By
user.
order and sell order. Order
Yes,
versus by order and sell order.
correct, correct. So now when you say order, you gave the example of Zerodha. So here I say if the order is of Amazon, I can say that there will be delivery address and all of that information for buy order. But if it is Zerodha, so when I was doing LLD of Zerodha, I did it live on YouTube. So if you remember, when I was doing this, I also did this because it comes to us by default, right? That I am going to just create one order and buy order and sell order. But then I thought about it, what extra things am I adding in buy order or sell order? because there was nothing new that I was adding. Is there anything that is there in buy order or sell order that is not there in order? Am I adding anything extra, adding any new data members or not? So these are the questions that we will be thinking about when we talk about inheritance. We don't have to force inheritance everywhere, but the relationship will be is. Does it make sense? Palaniapam is asking, is buy or sell an attribute to the order type? Yes, you can keep it an attribute, right? Like what is the type? So you can just do that. Deepak is saying actually limit order is an order, could be a better example. Yes, that would be a very good example. So if we talk about Zerodha, there is one limit order and there's one market order. So basically limit order means that you are selling at the price that the user has mentioned or selling or buying, and market means that you are selling or buying at the market price. So in that case, maybe your function, the way it is going to work is going to be different. Here you are going to uh, probably do what? You're going to just wait that, okay, whenever it reaches this value, you send it. Or market order will be that you just send it, right? But interestingly, if you see in Zerodha, I'm just quickly telling you to think about it also. If you think about it like this, that Zerodha is sort of a broker, right? And here we have, what do we have? Exchange. Yes, there is BSA and SA. So now the thing is, the way we handle limit order and market order is actually completely same. We just send it to BSA and SA that this is a limit order or a market order. So if I think in that sense, I could argue that there is no point of doing this. You understand? They are type, but I can actually within order itself, just like I'm keeping it an attribute that, okay, is it a buy order? Is it a sell order? Similarly, I could keep an attribute that is it a limit order or is it a market order? Right? So it could be a type. I am just making you think the different types of writing the code. It is not necessary because we have a is a relationship. We have to force feed inheritance over there. But we should be asking us the questions that why are we doing inheritance? Is it needed? Are there any future cases that can come? We have to think of extensibility. We have to think of maintainability, all of that. But we should have good enough reasoning for the way we are writing the code. We should not force feed it, right? Does it make sense, guys? Yes, no? Quick yes, quick yes. Okay. Now, we talked about is a relationship, right? Now, there is another relationship that is very famous, and I'm sure you guys already know. So when I say an order will have an attribute like an attribute that it is a buy order or a sell order. Similarly, an attribute limit order or market order. So basically, they can be has a relationship, has this. So can anyone tell me any good examples? Has a relationship? Anything?
Order has a delivery address.
Order has delivery address. Very good. So order has delivery address.
Order has a product in terms of food. Order has a
Car
product.
has an engine.
User has the order.
Car has an engine. Okay. Cool. What is?
Like you
What?
have a purchase order has an items, like in manufacturing, a purchase order would have the items in it. So I
Okay.
think that's covered.
Chessboard
Uh,
has pieces.
Chessboard has pieces. Okay.
University has a department.
Okay.
Restaurant
University
has
has
a menu.
very good. Okay. So now I guess you are getting some sort of idea about it, right? Guys, mute yourself after you're done talking. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Now quick question. Let's take this example. Car has engine and suppose car has seat. Can someone tell me the difference between engine and seat? Or let me give you another example. University has department. University has fest. So it has a college fest, right? Is there any difference between engine and seat? Like any major difference? Or say
number,
in the
One to
number?
many,
number,
one to one.
number of engine and number of seats.
And
That's not
It's
clear.
like
Engines
car
can
may
run
not
without
exist.
engine is
cars
critical.
without a department.
Engine
The
is
functionality
critical. That department. One university has a department, but it is not necessary that
Without an
FACE
engine,
would
you
be
can't ride a car.
happen in the
But without a seat,
university.
you can.
So engine cannot exist without a car, but a seat has a value without a car as well, right?
Very good, very good. So I can see that most of you are able to think about it. Let me explain for those who are wondering what is happening over here. See, the point is that university has to have department. Every university, no matter how bad the university is, it is going to have departments, right? But will every university have a fest? Not necessary. Okay, so and also something I like think of it like this: can any department exist without university? Can department exist without university? And can fest, maybe fest is somewhere else without a university, right? It is like a normal fest, maybe not a college fest. Right now, I know this is very subjective. I know you might be thinking about it. Now let's talk about this example: car has engine, car has seat. Now someone is saying that the difference is that engine cannot exist without car versus seat can exist without car, because you can just take out the seat and replace it, versus engine cannot exist without the car. Now, the point over here is that it is subjective, correct? Some of you can argue that my engine can exist without the car. I can just take it out and I can put another engine. Some of you can argue that no, my engine, like it is part of the car. It cannot exist without the car, right? So it is a subjective thing. Now, this is again system design, so we have to talk about these things. Now, when we talk about has a relationship, you have to see, can the subclass that we are talking about, can it exist without the superclass or not? Now, this is something that we always have to talk about, and we'll discuss the difference between it. Can you give me more examples about something that can exist without the superclass, something that cannot exist? Any better examples in terms of, say, order or anything? Put it in chat. I'm going to the chat. Any other
Body has
example?
eye.
Hmm.
The body has eye.
I
Pizza has
knew that
toppings.
this example will definitely come. Okay, so let me
Like
give this examples. That body has, say, heart, and it has, say, person. Okay, so person has a heart and person has a bag. Now, bag can exist without person. Can heart exist without person? No. Okay, so this is a good example to understand the concept. But guys, we are learning low-level system design, and we want to take better examples. So give me better examples related to, say, chairs, Zerodha, Swiggy, Zomato, Uber, Ola, Amazon, any of these things, but not
Warehouse has inventory.
warehouse has inventory. Okay, and what else does
Swiggy
it
has
have?
drivers.
Swiggy has drivers. Okay.
Amazon cart has
Order
items.
has food items.
Product has reviews.
Product has rating. This is a good example. See, now product has rating. Can rating exist without the product? Can rating exist without product? Now, this is a question that you should ask, because I can have rating not just of the product. I can have rating, say, of a user, a customer, a delivery partner, right? See, my point over here is the subclass ka entire life cycle depend on the superclass or not. See, my point is that when a person ka class is created, only then heart will be created. As soon as the person dies, heart will also die. But person might exist and bag might not exist. Person might buy bag later. And when person dies, also bag is going to be there. Think of it, try to think of it like this. Now, when you say that product has rating, are you saying that that rating will exist only if the product exists? Maybe your rating can be there without the product. I'm trying to confuse you over here. Do you get the
But it
point?
doesn't make sense if you have a rating without the product.
But it doesn't make sense if you have rating without the product. Okay, let us take better examples over here. Okay, take
like
suppose
a
let us
user
say
has a order.
user has a hotel. Okay,
A,
guys,
a,
just give me
a
a
ride
minute.
and a ride and a fare.
Ride and a fare. Okay, good. That is
Apa-
a good ride and a fare.
Network
a-
refresh
apart-
packets.
Apartment and floors.
Okay. Yeah. I understood that you have understood. Now let's try to take better examples. One very good, example is Swiggy Zomato. So if we see this, so restaurant will have what? It will have menu, right? Menu will have what? Menu will have food items. Now my question is, can menu exist without restaurant? Can menu exist without restaurant? Yes or no? In the chat. Some are saying no, some are saying yes. See, menu, if it exists without restaurant, then menu is of what? What is the menu of, right? It has to belong to a particular restaurant. So according to me, it should not exist without a restaurant. Like when you create a restaurant, only then you're going to create a menu. And as soon as you like delete the restaurant, your menu should also be deleted, right? Because every restaurant has a specific menu. Does it make sense? Yes or no? Does this example make sense? Anyone has doubt in this example? Okay. Similarly, menu has say food items. Now this can be controversial. See food items. Now start thinking of it. Now food items can be say burger or pizza, right? So when I say burger and pizza, tell me this. Suppose I have a burger object. It is going to be different for two different cafes. If I have say cafe 1, cafe 2. I am going to create two different burgers, two different burger objects for these, correct? Because they are going to have different, images, different description, and different all of that. Now, when I add a burger to a menu, obviously my burger cannot exist without a menu, right? Otherwise, where it will be flowing in the entire system design, right? So a burger or any food item cannot exist without a menu, according to me. What do you think? Yes or no? Yes or no? Guys? Yes, a bit. Okay. So we
Can you
have to
repeat
keep.
the
Can you
example?
repeat, Kirti, one second?
Okay. Okay. See, so I am saying cafe 1 has one burger, say burger 1, like some object, and cafe 2 has burger 2. Okay. Now this burger 1 will have a different image, different description. Similarly, this burger will also have a different image, different description. So this burger and this big burger are different, correct? So every burger belongs to a particular menu. Like if there is cafe 1, uska menu, the menu of the cafe 1 has this burger. Versus say if there is cafe 2 has its own menu and then it will have say pizza and all. It might not even have burger, right? So this pizza ka object will exist only if the menu exists. And if I delete this menu, the pizza will get deleted by itself. Does it make sense? Yes, no?
Is it kind of cascading relationship or something else?
It is it is basically a part of relationship. So let me explain this. So when we say has a, okay, when we say has a relationship, there are two types of relationships. One is called aggregation and one is called composition. You must have heard of these terms. Sometimes has a itself will be called composition and they will not say properly whether it is aggregation or composition, but don't get confused. Proper way of it is that has a itself can be aggregation or composition and composition can sometimes be called as part of. So sometimes what people will do to confuse that aggregation will be called has a and composition will be called part of. That is like to be more specific, but usually has a is used in both the references for aggregation and composition. Now let me tell you the difference between it. The simple example that we took, that person has heart, right? Now, as soon as the person will die, heart will die, right? The heart ka entire life cycle is dependent on person. So that becomes composition. So person heart relationship is basically composition versus person bag relationship is aggregation. Does it make sense? Yes or no? Guys, does this much make sense? So basically, why I am saying part of, see, think of it like this, that heart is a part of person. Heart cannot exist without a person. That is why they say part of. That this is composition. Correct? Yes, let's take better examples. Now my another question. So we were talking about Swiggy Zomato, right? Now let me make you think in one more way. So there is restaurant and there is restaurant owner. Correct? what should be the relationship between restaurant and restaurant owner? Does restaurant have restaurant owner or restaurant owner have restaurant? And is it aggregation or composition? Now I'm making you think. Tell me what according to you. Tell me in the comments that restaurant has restaurant owner or restaurant owner has restaurant, and what can exist without what?
A restaurant owner has a restaurant and it's a part of relation.
It is a part of. So you're saying that restaurant cannot exist without restaurant owner.
Isn't that subjective to how many restaurants a restaurant owner is owning?
Correct. Plus, I can also say that a restaurant can have, say, 5 restaurant owners, correct? So
Yeah.
if one restaurant owner will have one restaurant, then how will you do one restaurant having multiple restaurant owners? Maybe today it is one-to-one relationship according to you, but when you try to extend it, like a restaurant can have multiple restaurant owners, what are you going to do? Yes, do you understand the thing over here? See, I can see many people are saying that restaurant has restaurant owner, and some people are saying restaurant owner has restaurant. So now it depends on how we want to design it, correct? And suppose I decide that my restaurant will have restaurant owners, and I give you the reasoning that because one restaurant can have multiple restaurant owners, that is why I'm designing like this. Okay, this is the example that I'm giving. But now tell me, should it be aggregation or composition? Now that is another example, right? Another question that I should be thinking, that can restaurant have can restaurant owners exist without restaurant or not? So suppose I am designing for Swiggy. Can a restaurant owner be there without any restaurant? Then it is just a person, right? Then how is it an owner? So should it be aggregation or composition? Okay, now tell me this. Okay, I don't know why you are writing no, no, no in the chat. My question right now is this. So restaurant is the base class, like the parent class, and it has restaurant owner. Suppose an array or a vector or whatever, a list of restaurant owners. Now tell me, can restaurant owners exist without restaurant or not? Is it aggregation or is it composition? Sri Rajni is saying yes, they can exist and owner can have multiple. Correct. That is a good example. Now, see, reasoning has to be good, and she gave the right reasoning. Now, whoever is saying Rekha, Rice, Nisha, all of them are saying composition, right? Now, my question is, okay, now think of it like this. So, suppose there is restaurant one, there is restaurant two, there is restaurant owner one, there is restaurant owner two, restaurant owner three, restaurant owner four. Now, restaurant one has owners restaurant owner 1 and 2, right? Restaurant 2 has owners restaurant owner 2 and restaurant owner 3, correct? This is my case right now. So you are saying it will be composition. So if it is composition, then what will I do? That as soon as my restaurant 1 dies, my restaurant owner 2 will die. Then what will happen to this guy? So when I say composition, it means that my restaurant owner 2 should not exist without this restaurant 1. Its entire life cycle should be dependent on this. So when the super class is going to die, the base class is also going to die. The entire life cycle is dependent on that. Does it make sense?
Are we talking about superclass? So are we talking about a single object of superclass, or we are talking about all of the objects of superclass? So if I say that way, that without any restaurants, I cannot have a restaurant owner, then it's composition, right? So if there are
Right.
no restaurants, then there is
Right.
no restaurant
At an
owner.
object level, not at the class level, because then it will become more confusing. Think of it at the object level right now.
Uh,
Because if restaurant, yeah, go on.
so user has many orders. So
So
without user, there
user
is
has
no.
many addresses.
So without user, there is no orders. If you delete the user, all orders will be removed.
Correct.
So
That right. So that is an example of what? That is an example of composition. That is a good example because your order can belong to one user only. So if you're saying composition, then the entire life cycle of your uh, subclass should be completely dependent on the superclass. Does it make sense?
One last question.
Subclass.
You said has a relationship has two types, aggregation and composition, right? And you also said that composition is called as part of.
Yes.
So like part of, I mean, can we interchangeably use has a, or we need to separate part of and has a relationship?
So you can use has a for both. That is how I also usually do it. So usually how it works is, so okay, let me show you like this. So A has B. Okay. Now this can be either aggregation or composition. Now the question that is, can B exist without A or not? If B can exist without A, it is aggregation. It is not part of. If B cannot exist without A, then it is composition. It is part of. Okay. So sometimes, like how I usually do it is, if you have watched my videos, I will just say A has B and B can exist without A, or B cannot exist without A. That is why it is aggregation or composition. But some people will say A has B, it is aggregation, and B is part of A, then it is composition.
Basically, it is
Make
a strong association and weak association.
Yeah. Don't use the word association right now. Association means something else. We'll get to it.
Kirti, can I say driver is a part of Uber? Something like that.
Driver is a part of Uber. So if my Uber ka object dies, if my Uber dies, will there be no driver? Now the question is, can driver exist in on say other platforms? So if maybe you have a big platform for say Ola also. If that is the case, then it is wrong. But if the Uber was the entire system, then obviously driver will be part of it.
Kirti, can we
Kirti,
say that like if there's a like multiple relation, not one-to-one relation, many-to-many relation, then there will never be composition. There will be aggregation only.
Correct. Very good. That is completely true. Because if there is many to
Sorry, I
many,
didn't get this point. Come again.
so he is saying that if it is many to many relationships, so many restaurants can have many restaurant owners. So it is not like this restaurant owner ka entire life cycle is dependent only on one. It can belong to many restaurants, because the restaurant owner cannot belong to just one restaurant. It cannot be aggregation. It cannot be composition. It has to be aggregation.
Kirti, one question. See, why are we so much concerned about the restaurant owner? For Swiggy, it is restaurant mainly, and it's an attribute restaurant owner. Well, I am getting confused over there. Then why should we be bothered about restaurant owner as such? It's just an
I give
attribute.
example, like don't be so bothered about it. I'm
No,
not
no, why,
saying
no, no. Why I'm getting confused is, see, when we saying for an application of Swiggy or any this kind of application, for
Mhm.
me, a restaurant makes sense, right? Then restaurant owner is just and then people are using it like left hand side to right hand side, that restaurant owner owns a restaurant or restaurant is owned by a restaurant owner. So we are shifting from left to right and then right to left. Will that make a difference to has an as a relation has a composition or aggregation relationship? Like
okay.
if I
So
am
I can see some confusion around key. What is even the point of discussing this? I can see in the
uh,
comments, okay, what impact will it have on say code, right? So let's try
yes,
to understand
yes,
that, right?
yes, yes, yeah.
So when I say okay, so when I say restaurant, uh, okay, let us use the example of person and heart itself right now. Okay, let's leave
Hello.
everything. Give me 1 minute. Let me cover. Okay, let me finish this point. Then we can pick up more questions. Okay. So now, when I say class person is going to have a heart, okay, it has a heart. Now, in the person ka constructor, am I creating this heart or not? That heart equal to new heart or something. And in the say destructor, basically, okay, I know it is language dependent. So the point is that when person dies, does my heart also die or not? If it does, then the entire life cycle of heart is dependent on person. It cannot exist anywhere else. If you think in terms of C++, basically I'm going to do new itself over here. And I'm going to do delete in the destructor itself. So it is getting constructed in the constructor of the superclass and getting deleted in the destructor of the superclass. So its entire life cycle is dependent on the superclass. So that is what we are discussing.
So this is composition.
This
is composition.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, Kirti, don't use the term superclass and subclass. That means something else.
What term, like even I am thinking what term should I use, that A has an instance of B. Superclass is not the correct term.
This class just has this object inside.
But like in explanations, people use superclass, subclass, but people can get confused that super sub belongs to inheritance.
Inheritance.
But who use it for has a also. So even I was thinking that how do I say it properly, that person has a heart. But okay, the point noted that super sub might not be the correct terms over here. Yes. So
Hello,
now,
Kirti.
yes.
Can driver and rides be composition?
Driver and ride. Okay. So if this, no, it will not be, because
Self-driving cars.
let me explain why. So your driver and your rider or your customer, both
Not
are,
rider, actually, ride.
sorry.
Right, just right.
Right.
So just ride is there. Let me explain. So there is driver has ride, right? Similarly, rider or customer also has ride, correct? So now this one ride belongs to two classes, right? Driver also has the ride and rider also has the ride. As soon as you delete this driver, are you going to delete all the rides, or the ride is going to be there for the customer or not? According to me, it should be there, because the ride belongs to both the driver and the rider, right? It is not one-to-one relationship, like sort of. So you cannot call it composition. See, okay, let me explain this point, that firstly, there is, in most of the cases, it will not be that you have to do like this. It doesn't, like, it will be very dependent on the requirements. Like, for example, I can argue that restaurant owners can exist without restaurant, even if it is just a restaurant owner, like, let it be. But someone can argue that my restaurant owner cannot exist without restaurant. Or you can argue that engine cannot exist without car, as simple as that. Or suppose in Uber, you are registering car and driver. So you can say that I am going to, okay, let's take this example, that in Uber, there is a car and there is driver. So in this car, you are going to store some details, right? And now they can be, say our services are like that, a car can be driven by multiple drivers. Maybe you are providing cars and you are there are different drivers coming to this. Now the point is that, are you creating the driver when you're creating the car or not? Is the entire life cycle of the driver dependent on the car, or will you merge it into one class object? Like, you understand the point, like that I'm trying to convey, that it depends on the requirements, on the way you want to design. And it is fine if it is not 100% clear, because when we look at more examples, I am bringing these questions up on the second class. Why? Because we have 5 weeks, right? We have another 4 weeks when we'll be discussing this in detail. Aggregation or composition, this question is going to come literally at every point. So just have some basics clear, and we will keep looking at more and more examples, and it will get clearer for all of us.
Yeah, but Kirti,
Can we say, like, if a driver gets created in different classes, so that can exist?
Your voice got broken off. So if a driver can exist in multiple classes, its life cycle is not dependent on one class. So
I was saying that if the driver's life cycle gets created in multiple classes, can we say that like it's not a composition relation?
yes, because it is not like that when the class will get deleted, this driver will also get deleted, right? So the entire life cycle is not dependent on that. So no, that will be aggregation.
Kirti, coming back to your relation.
Kirti, one small question.
Right. Coming back to your question.
Can we please take all the question in the end of the session, because it's breaking others' rhythm as well.
Let's just take one. Mithun has been trying
Kirti,
to
one
ask.
small query. Yeah, so it's related to what we are discussing about aggregation as well as composition. So since don't you think it will have same approach Like we are just adding that object inside the class. It has like person has a heart. So whether it is aggregation or composition, so will there be any difference in implementation
That is what I
or
was trying to
like
say here, right? That your heart will get constructed with the constructor. It will sort of get deleted when the person gets deleted. Your basically heart cannot exist without the person. But in your code, you have to understand that something can exist without a particular another class or not. Okay, give it some time, guys. Just one more question. I'll take it from Mithun. I understood that there is more to understand from this, and we'll take more examples. Relax, relax. I'm here to help you out. Relax. Mithun, can you just quickly tell your question?
Yeah, thanks. Coming back to your relation between driver and ride. So, if the ride has taken place, then the ride object can still exist if the driver goes away for historical or whatever. And but if the ride has not taken place and driver logs out or the object that's destroyed, then ride does not. So in such cases, how do you answer in an interview? Like, what would you say? Like whether it will be aggregation or composition? Thank
So
you.
if it can exist in any case without the driver, I'm going to keep it aggregation because it can exist without that, right? So it has to be aggregation. So where it is getting created. Right now, it seems like why are we even discussing this? But when you start writing the code, you will start thinking that when am I constructing this object? When am I instantiating the object? And all those questions will become clearer if you're clear in your head that, okay, this is aggregation or composition. When are we creating the object? Okay. Okay. It is okay if there are doubts. It is a good thing if there are doubts. It will lead to more discussions. For now, can I move ahead? Can I get quick yeses? Are you guys thinking about it? Yes? Okay, awesome. The point is that we have to keep asking questions, right? It has to be confusing at this point. Okay. So
More doubt here,
also,
Kirti.
can we take it up later, please? Like
Okay,
in
sure.
the at 11 o'clock? Yeah, thank you. Okay. So now see the thing is that when we look at the code, when we start designing, when we start writing the code, what is going to happen is sometimes you might think that we are very smart, we'll be able to write code. But sometimes I don't know if it has happened with you. As SD1, it used to happen with me that I will start writing the code. I will probably inherit from here. I will do this, something. I will make the classes and I will start doing. And then in between the writing the code, I'll go like, oh no, I should not have done like this. A better way would have been if I wrote like this. A better way would have been if I did this, right? Sometimes it happens, and then you try to find a workaround, try to see that, okay, now what can I do, right? So basically, when we start writing the code without thinking of it properly or without making sure that our code is maintainable, extensible, reusable, these things happen with all of us. So I know UML is something that sounds very, it is theoretical and why are we doing this? But trust me, once you truly understand its importance, you will really enjoy doing it because once you are done designing the entire diagram, once you have the visualization of it, converting it to code will become very easy. It will become super easy. And that is what I'm going to explain you in the next 1 hour, that how we can convert our relations between the classes and all of this into design, into say a visual representation. And then for every design that we'll be doing after this, tomorrow we'll be starting from design patterns. So for every design pattern, for every code that we do, we are going to first draw the diagram and we are going to see that how easy it is to convert the diagram to code. Does it make sense? Yes, quick thumbs up, everyone with me. Yep, okay. So till now, we have done inheritance and aggregation composition, right? So if it is, okay, let us do like this. A, B. A is a B, okay? So this is the relationship and it is inheritance. Can someone tell me what kind of arrow it is? You guys must have noticed arrow like this, right? That if there is a base class, you must have seen like this. This is the derived class. Correct? So A is a B is this visual representation. So if you see in any UML diagram, you will see this. Okay. Now the next thing is aggregation. So A, B, this is the aggregation one. So this is A has an instance of B. Correct? This is aggregation. Now composition also looks like that only, but since it is part of this, it is going to be A has B, but B can't exist without A and can exist. And here you can say part of. B is part of A and it is composition. Does this much make sense? Does this make sense? I know it gets confusing that here the arrow is towards the parent and here the parent, here the arrow is, if you think about it, it is actually here the parent, the base class is B, right? Here also the bigger class is A. A has B, right? So the arrow is towards the bigger class or towards the superclass. Yes, makes sense? So this is the visual representation. Now, another thing that we will be using is association. Someone used the term association and I said that don't use it for now because this is what association looks like. Can someone tell me what is the meaning of association in the chat? What does association mean? What does association mean? Anyone in the chat? So someone is saying relates to, related, one to one, A relates to B. Maheshwari is saying bidirectional, very good. So now my question is that what will be the difference between these two? Now I'm saying both of them are association. Can you tell me the difference between these two? Can you tell me the difference between the first one and the second one? Both are association.
A can be called B, or A can call B, or B can call A. Bidirectional, unidirectional.
Yes. So this is bidirectional. Sorry, bidirectional. So basically, both can call A and B can call each other. Versus here, A can call B, but B can't call A. So this is unidirectional association. And this is bidirectional association. Does this much make sense? What do you mean by call? Now call can be anything like related to, can anyone give me an example of call? Like any example? Anyone can give me an example?
Logging class.
Which class?
User calls payment.
User calls payment. Yes, correct. So see, it is not like payment will be inside user or it is going to inherit from there or anything like that. Correct. But user is going to call payment gateway, right? So user can call payment gateway, can access payment gateway. So sometimes instead of call, you will see the term being used as access. That user can access payment gateway, but payment gateway cannot access user. That is why unidirectional association. Yes. Any other good example that anyone can give me? Anything in Zerodha, Swiggy, Zomato, Uber, Ola?
User and reviews can be.
User and reviews. So yes, you could. So unless you have like user has reviews, it can be like user is giving review, right? So give can be like user is calling review system. It can be like that. See,
Driver calls ride.
driver calls ride. Huh. Now this is okay. This is interesting. Now I can also see that someone said driver driving car. User can book a cab, right? So now see, someone can say driver should have ride. It should be a has a relationship. But now the point of discussion will be, will you keep ride within the driver? Like if this is the driver class, will the ride object be inside the driver? Like, do you want to have like a list of rides inside this? If not, if that is not, if this is the case, it would have been a has a relationship. Otherwise, it will be a calls relationship, access relationship that call or can access ride or create ride, right? Or access ride. So we have to start thinking that will it be has a relationship, will it be is a relationship, or will it be a simple where you can just access another class, or can both the classes access each other? Can you give me an example of bidirectional association also when both classes can call each other?
If a user places an order with a restaurant,
So a user and a restaurant could have a
Are you
by
sure that
directional
restaurant
relationship.
should be able to access user? Like I wouldn't
Yeah,
want my
it could have the information, right? Because they could also need to contact me. Or better than restaurant, a partner would be a better example.
um see, like when I say user, I'm just putting it out like just for conversation. See, user will have all the details, not just the contact information. User will have details like it will have getters like get me address or get me maybe even PAN card or anything like that, right? Maybe there can be another class where you can access just the user contact information, user contact info, or user metadata, maybe if you want to call it, and that can access restaurant and restaurant can access metadata. Like I wouldn't want my restaurant to
Yeah,
access the
I meant
like
I meant from a Swiggy perspective, and by the way, I mean partner and not restaurant. So I don't think there is anything confidential there on a user class itself for Swiggy, for example. Like there won't be any PAN card details or anything of that.
okay, makes sense. Yes, yes. Okay, cool. If you can give good
One,
enough, good. Yes. Yeah, tell me.
yeah, one example for bidirectional association is customer can call driver and driver can call customer.
Right. Similar to this user and restaurant.
Broker and customer in case of Zerodha.
Broker and customer. So customer can call broker, and you are saying broker can call customer. Okay. You
Yeah.
guys are
Trader and stock.
very very broad classes. I would say that broker is like a huge like broker. Zerodha itself is a broker sort of, right? So becomes a broad example. I would say. Try to give bit more specific examples.
Trader and stock.
Sorry.
I have one question. So,
Yeah, Airbnb example we
are
can
we
take.
talking about the
The
same
customer have to access to
entity
the like the owners of the Airbnb, and the Airbnb owners have to access the to the user history, like how he has performed and all.
Correct. Yes. I think everyone has gotten the. Rolly is asking some question. I'll just pick it up and move ahead. Yes, Rolly.
So I was asking like it needs to be the same entity type, like for example, driver and the customer, right? Both are user. So it just depends on the classes, or it should matter depends on the entity type. So
I did not understand what do you mean by entity type. Are you saying that both of them should be typed by some particular common class,
no.
something like
So customer and driver both are kind of a user, right? Both are person.
no, no, it does.
Is it kind of
It
a
does.
user relation between them?
No, 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 no. It shouldn't. Any class that can call another class, like there's no prerequisite like that.
One more question, right? Might be
Hi,
out of
Kirti.
context
Can you
here.
explain what call means? Uh, okay, how will a call be without having an object inside that? I'm not getting that properly.
Okay, okay. Let me explain you more. So we will take
Use
some
the class
examples.
and divide the class.
Guys, yes, yes, very good. I can see all the chats. Okay, very good. Let me. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll take an example and we will try to understand more examples and let's see.
Can I have a small question, maybe?
Yeah,
Or a
yeah.
small one. Might be out of context.
Tell me.
Let's say we have a PubSub model, basically two classes in two different microservices, or two classes that have an abstraction layer in between.
It
How
is
do we define
out of
a relation?
it is too out of context. Let's pick it up after 11. Yes, PubSub. A lot of beginners will get confused. Please, if you have any questions related to any particular design pattern, any particular pattern, please save it for 11 p.m. I'll pick it up, I promise. Okay? Beginners will get confused, right? I hope you understand. Sorry.
Kirti, are we talking about data movement? Like, are we saying A to B? What is going to A to B? Like, when you say
We're
A,
just
A,
if you can access any function from that particular class, that is it. Let me give you some examples, guys. Relax, relax. I am not running away right now. Let me explain you a bit more. Okay? Can I move ahead for now? I will show you example right now. Yes, everyone with me? Everyone is awake? Okay. Just one more relationship I want to tell you, and after that we will look at examples. Okay. So here we said A is a B. Do you remember that when we talked about inheritance, there was sort of one more relation that we talked about? Anyone can guess? What was that relationship? Anyone can guess in the chat? See, so yes, so there is A and there is B. So if you see, inheritance is like this, right? Instead of this, if you just make it dotted, then it becomes implements. Why implements? Because it then becomes implementation. You remember we talked about, when we talked about interfaces and abstraction, we talked about implementation. So whenever you're dealing with interfaces or abstract classes, just make a dotted line instead of a dashed line. Even if it is association, with a interface or abstract classes, I know now you must be thinking, what case will it be? We will discuss all of that. We'll look at examples. But whenever you are accessing any any interface, you will have to say, you will have to use a dotted line. Okay, even if it is inheritance, you will use a dotted line. A implements B means that, okay, you remember we saw yesterday, right? That when it is an interface, A will be forced to have implement the functions that are there in B. A is implementing the functions in B. That is why A is implementing B. Remember, we talked about all of this. Yes?
A is base class or B is base class?
A implements B.
So B is base class.
So A implements B. Yes, so B is base class. I
Arrow
made
is
this.
upward or downward?
I made this opposite. Sorry. This is correct. What I made here is correct. Cool. Okay. Let's look at a few examples because I know a lot of questions related to this. So I don't know how many of you have watched it, but I did Swiggy, Zomato, and Uber, Ola design on the channel, right? So although this was there on the channel, but this level of discussion is not there. So let's try to understand each and every relation. So here you can see the arrows, correct? By the way, you can also draw such diagrams on, say, Lucid Chart or any other free tools are there online. So don't worry about all of that. But let's try to understand these relationships for now. Is everyone excited? Is everyone with me? We are 1 hour into the class. Is full attention, guys? Yes? Drink a sip of water. Someone was asking for a break at 10 o'clock, but cannot really give it. So just quick sip of water because it's a 2 hour class, right? Full Josh, come on, it's just the second class. We have to do a lot, we have to code a lot. Yep. Okay. Cool. Okay, now who will tell me what is the relationship between rider manager and rider over here? What does this mean, this arrow? What does this relationship mean?
Association.
Aggregation.
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 So it means that rider manager has an instance of rider, but rider can exist without rider manager. That is how I have done this, right? Similarly, if I ask you to explain this one, can someone explain me this relationship, this arrow?
Implements.
Implements, correct. Can you explain it a bit, like seeing the UML diagram?
Basically, it's a strategy pattern. So the least time-based matching strategy class implements this method, match driver.
Right. See,
So
you
match
don't need
driver is
to.
implemented.
Yeah, very good that you know strategy pattern. For those who don't know, it's fine because we'll be using all of this. You will understand the design patterns. But the point over here is to note that this match driver function that was there in the driver matching strategy, the same function is there in the least time based matching strategy also, because this subclass was supposed to implement. We will study strategy pattern. Don't worry about that. It is basically, I'm just saying that this subclass, this one is supposed to implement whatever function was there. And if you see the dotted arrow, and we are implementing over here. Does it make sense a bit? Yes? Okay. Let's look at this example also. So this is Swiggy. Okay. So can you explain me this restaurant and menu? What is the relationship between restaurant and menu?
Composition.
Composition.
So this, if I draw a diagram like this, you should be able to say that menu is a part of restaurant. So When you look at this, you should be able to see menu is a data member in restaurant. You can see that. So restaurant has menu, and menu ka entire life cycle is dependent on restaurant. Menu cannot exist without restaurant. It is a composition relationship, right? It is part of restaurant. Does it make sense? See now, if you are thinking what is the whole point of learning UML, just think about it. If suppose this arrow was not there, you have no idea whether it is composition aggregation, one simple arrow is there, some random arrow. Okay. Now to understand where menu is being created, where it is being deleted, maybe so code was written 5 years ago. Now a new team is here. Now the new team is trying to figure out if I delete this restaurant, what is going to happen? It says that maybe I need the menu. Somewhere I need it. I will just probably assign it to another restaurant or do something out of it. Or maybe I want to have my history or whatever I want to do with it. 5 years later, someone comes and nicely deletes the restaurant and loses menu also. But like if we had to do that, we would have to do what? We would have to go through the like we would have to go to the code and see where all it is it used, where is it being created, where is it being deleted, is it being accessed anywhere else? Versus if you have a diagram like this, you know already that this class is being used or being accessed, or it is part of which all other classes, what are the relationships, so you can take decisions accordingly. Make sense? Rahul is saying we need to know solid design patterns in UML, all three to make these charts. Yes, you do. And this is what we'll be targeting for week 4, week 5. We will make these systems end to end. Yep. Okay. Can someone tell me the relationship between restaurant manager and restaurant?
Aggregation.
Aggregation.
Aggregation. Yes, so has a. So restaurant manager has an instance of restaurant, but my restaurant can exist without restaurant manager, has a relationship. Correct? Okay, so you guys were asking about composition, about association and all of that, right?
Kirti, just one.
Yeah.
Restaurant manager can exist without restaurant, right?
Yes,
It is
so
like that.
restaurant manager has restaurant, but manager can exist without restaurant, no? So if you can see inside restaurant manager, there is like a list of restaurants. So you can see a map. Here you can see restaurants map, right? So here you can see there's a map of restaurants. So obviously you first create the restaurant manager and then you start adding restaurants. See, if it would have been a composition relationship, I would have to create restaurants and make sure that my restaurants cannot exist without restaurant manager. In fact, you should be arguing with me right now and you should be thinking about it that you should not let your restaurants exist without restaurant manager. Your manager should take care of all the restaurants. What is the whole point of having restaurants if they are not part of the manager? Such questions will come. Yep.
Kirti, can you give these PDFs in the Discord channel so that we can have a look?
It is available for free on my GitHub. So it is already there. I will share the GitHub link and I will. So this entire code is also there. So actually if you see there are already free videos of this on the YouTube channel. You can go through it. So once you know the UML, it will become very easy to convert this to code. And when you look at the code, so the code is also there on GitHub. What is going to happen is that you will see that, okay, trip manager has all of this. Trip is okay, composition relationship with trip manager. So now what will you do is you will be able to see that maybe in the constructor itself I've created the trip, or trip is getting deleted when the trip manager is getting deleted. Something like this, right? So you have to understand it properly, like to be any AI tool to convert UML to code. I am not aware of any AI tool as such right now, but I'm pretty sure they must be. Okay,
Kirti,
right now.
it can be a part of multiple menus. So why is that? Like it is composition relation. It can be
What
it can
multiple
dish
menu?
dish.
Dish. So that is what I was trying to explain, no? That if I have burger, I will create different burger ka object for say cafe 1, cafe 2, cafe 3. So my burger ka object will belong to a particular menu only. and my menu will belong to a particular restaurant only. So if I have say pizza, if I have for Pizza Hut and for Domino's, I will be creating different pizza objects, and that object belongs to only either Pizza Hut or Domino's object.
Okay. Uh, okay, but here recipe, if it is like we can have same object.
Every restaurant is going to have different ingredients. Recipe is different means what? We'll have different images, different description, right? All of that is going to be different. So that is why we should, I thought of it like this. If there is any better way, you can let me know. I also thought of it like here only. But if you think about it, if I have say paneer pizza in Pizza Hut, it is going to be completely different from the paneer pizza in Domino's. The image is different, the description is different, the price is different, all of that is different, right? Why not create different objects? Why create the same object? And that is like we'll be thinking about all of this. So pizza of Domino's and pizza of Pizza Hut, will it be same object, paneer pizza itself, or it will be two different objects? According to me, it should be two different objects. You guys tell me, should it be one object or different?
We should show pizza, right? If I say pizza, it should show all the available restaurants, right? There should be a mapping like that also, right? So if I
Sorry,
search for
sir.
pizza, if I search for pizza, it should show Domino's, Pizza Hut, everything. So it can't be just dependent on the restaurant, right? It needs to have
So
an
that and all comes under search, right? That you're going to keep all the pizzas somewhere. You're probably going to so maybe you are going to keep all your menus or restaurant manager. That comes under search. So yes, that is also going to be there.
In easy relationship, the triangle is towards the base class or the subclass?
Let's look at it. Where is it?
Is a relationship has arrow?
Is a relationship has arrow. The has a relationship has diamond.
Yeah, so this is towards the subclass, right? A to B. But in the
A,
diagram,
did I make anything wrong over here? A is a B. Which
diagram,
one I? Where are you talking about?
yeah, here pricing strategy. So so over there it was the triangle was on the B, and here it is on looks like A, right?
No, no. A is a B. So B is the base class. A is a B. Derived class is a base class, correct? So here default pricing strategy is a pricing strategy.
Okay, okay. So over there B was the base class and A was the derived class, is it?
Yes, yes. A is a B. So A is extending from B basically. A is a B and it is going to extend, correct? Yep. Guys,
can you show an example of association in those UML diagrams?
That's what I'm surprised that I have not mentioned it anywhere. Give me one second. Let me see. This is there. Na? Food manager can access restaurant. So this is unidirectional association. So my food manager is doing what? It is going to the order manager and it is saying that you need to start preparing and all of this. Or here you can see this also. My delivery manager is going to delivery partner and it is saying that you need to start doing the delivery. Or the delivery manager is accessing the delivery matching strategy. So all of these things, so we will go through this in more detail. Here you can see metadata also, it is association. So see, here it is not like a delivery manager has an instance of delivery metadata. It is not like metadata is inside delivery manager at all, correct? But if you see in this manage delivery wala function, I am passing delivery metadata, right? So that means I can access delivery metadata, right? So if I can access delivery metadata, that means it is unidirectional association. My delivery metadata cannot access delivery manager, but my delivery manager can access delivery metadata. Now note over here, can access or can call means that even if I am passing it as a argument in a function, that means I can access it, I can call it, correct? Even then I am calling it unidirectional association. Does it make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Yes?
Is there an example of a bidirectional in this?
I do not think there's an example of bidirectional in this. Let me think of any example for bidirectional and I will let you know for this system itself. I have not made anything bidirectional. Okay, but you guys get some point, right? Some clarity is there. Now
Kirti,
when
what
we
is
do
the double arrow? What is the double arrow from both sides? In some classes, I see
double
opening
arrow,
and yeah. In
where did
some
you see
classes,
double?
it is not there, and some classes it is there. Yeah, just hold on here. Yeah, see, I partner is there something in center. The class
Acha,
I partner.
this opening tags, closing tags. This means it is an interface. So if you see I partner no, it means it is an interface. So whenever you see an interface, usually the naming convention is that you write with I, or you can put this to opening tag and closing tag, and it means that it is an interface. So that is why whatever is arrows you're seeing from this particular class, everything will be dotted, dashed. Restaurant owner dashed, delivery partner dashed. Correct. Similarly, I think there is one more. I think over here it is there. Here you can see these, right? So there are three ways to show that it is an interface. One is that you opening tag, closing tag. Another thing is write it in italic. Another thing is that you put I in front of it. All of this means that it is an interface. So from an interface, you will be able to see it dotted. Over here, actually, this line from strategy manager to pricing strategy should have been dotted. So this is wrong, actually. From strategy manager to pricing strategy and to driver matching strategy, it should have been dotted line. So any line that goes to an interface should be a dotted line. Does it make sense? Guys? Yes, no? Guys, awake? Everyone awake? Okay. Okay.
Kirti,
Now,
one question. So if strategy manager has pricing strategy, in that case also should it be dotted? I understand like implements it should be dotted, but for aggregation also should we make the line dotted?
yeah, so whenever you're dealing with interfaces, no, the guideline is usually that you should make it dashed. So to show that, okay, this is an interface. Basically, even if it is association, aggregation, whatever it is, if it is an interface, just make it dashed. That is the usual guideline.
Sure.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, guys.
Hello, Kirti.
Hello,
Yeah.
Kirti.
Just
Query.
one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, with regarding association, if will it be every time it will be function has argument of what another class, so that way only association will happen, or how?
Any way we can call the class, it will be association. We will look at more examples. I can see association is not so clear. Let us take more examples in the next class. It will be clear,
Thank you.
don't worry. 4 weeks to go, dude. Only 2 classes are over. We like next 4 weeks, all we are going to do is understand this in more detail. Solid principles, UML, this will be there for every single design pattern. It will be there for every single example that we take. It will look a lot more easier to you from tomorrow. Don't worry. Okay. Okay, since we're talking about UML, quickly want to tell you what these boxes also mean. So if you see it is divided into 3 parts, right? You can see it. So the first part, like if you see in this dish, the topmost is the name. Okay, so that is the name. Over here, the second part is basically the data members. And the third part is the functions or the methods, correct? So here also you can see dish add-on is the name. These are name, description, price, images. These are the data members. Dish add-on, the constructor is a function. Does it make sense? Yes. Now the question should be that what does this minus and plus mean? So minus means that those are private. Now if you can see the functions, the data members both can be private, public or protected. So for protected it will be hashtag. For private it will be minus. For public it will be plus. So the point is that looking at the UML diagram, you will be able to understand everything starting from what is the access, like can this data member be accessed by these classes or not, uh, what is the access level, what is the name, what like the entire signature, everything you can see. Like for example, let's look at this, right? So restaurant is the name, the members are name, is available, menu, location, owner, all of those are private. How they are private? Because they all have that minus sign. Versus these two functions that you can see, one is the constructor and one is prepare food, both of them I made as public, right? So for public, the functions, you can see the signature also. That here you can see prepare food. If you see this colon bool, that means that I am returning boolean. I can see some people are asking what is the symbol for protected. For protected, it is hashtag. So these UMLs that you see that you made it for example purposes. So I made them simple and I've used only private and protected. I've not used, I've just used private and public. I've not used protected. So you will not see hashtag anywhere, but protected is by hashtag. Okay. And uh, you can see the return type also over here. Like over here, it is full, right? Guys, the more nonsense you guys talk in chat, no, the more distracted I will be. Because then I am reading the chat and you guys are talking about bhul bhulaiya. And I'm supposed to read the chat and answer questions. So please be nice to me. Please don't talk nonsense on the chat. You guys continue your nonsense on Discord because I can't see that right now, right? Please don't talk nonsense on chat. Otherwise, I get distracted. I won't be able to cover more things. Okay? If you want to get connected, Discord is there. Use it for all your nuisance and everything that you want to do. Yes, thank you. How to denote a static member? That is a good question.
So what does the star represent?
So I'm guessing you are a Java person. Star is for C++ people. That means it's a pointer.
Okay, got
You
it.
can make it. Okay. For static, the good question. So you see this underline. That means it is static. We discussed static. Does anyone remember how to denote what does static mean? We discussed yesterday. Static
Instant.
means
It doesn't.
Class member.
It's a class member.
Class.
very good, very good. So it belongs to class, not it belongs to class, not to the instance of the class. Correct? So here you can see get manager. We will actually see, so this is also a design pattern that we will see next week, probably first class itself. So this is singleton. Here you can see this underline means it is static, minus you can see this instance. That means it is private. And here you can see this is the constructor and this is the signature. Okay. In this get food manager, you can see that I'm returning the pointer to the food manager. So you can see the return type also. So the point is that from tomorrow itself, so tomorrow we are going to get started with design patterns. So we will first thing that we will do is draw the UML diagram. From the UML diagram itself, you should be able to convey everything. What is the exact class? What are the private members? What are the public members? What are the functions? What are the return times of the functions? Who can access what? What are the relationships between the classes? Everything should be properly done in the UML diagram, and then we will convert it into code. Is everyone with me? Can everyone understand? Underline means it is static, guys.
Kirti, one question. See, normally, who prepares this UML diagram? Is it architect or a business analyst or the developer? Before coding, he has to prepare. Who does this in the whole life cycle? Who is supposed to
So
do it?
see, the high level designs is usually done by the architects and high level management, like the managers and all. The LLD, sometimes it is done by SD1, SD2 also. Like, let me give you an example. So like in my first company, I did design LLD of a few things. Like even one of my friends was working on Logger. He designed the entire design. He was asked to do it. So if you have a good team, if you are given the opportunity, you will be asked to design, because it is a very good opportunity in terms of learning, because you are deciding the design of your code, right? Not just doing it. Otherwise, maybe lead developer will design it for you and you will just have to convert it into code, because converting it into code is very easy, right? But trust me, like if you can make this UML, as I think as SD1, SD2 also, you should be able to do it. And I think making this UML first will make your life a lot easier. In your reviews, if you show this, no, it will be very impressive also, because you can walk through the entire design, you can discuss it, and the reviews will be so much easier. Like if you are SD2, SD3, and if you're reviewing it, I would suggest like you can ask your junior developers, if not like to this detailing, at least uh, write like a rough diagram. Like for example, in interview, it is not possible that I start making these arrows properly, right? That diamond and arrow and all of this, it takes time. Like the Swiggy, Zomato, Uber, Ola example that I showed you, it took a lot of time. So in interviews and all, what I used to do, I used to just write over there in front of the, like on top of the arrow, I will just write aggregation, composition, and or I will just keep conveying it with the interviewer, and it becomes so much easier. And in daily work also, if not like that detailed UML, it is better to make like a rough UML and write down over there that okay, this is maybe is a relationship, this is has a relationship. And these questions you will see a lot being asked in the interviews. In interviews, you will be asked this: what is the relationship, what is the access level, and the more you communicate it, the better it is. Does it make sense?
Yeah, Kitty, one more thing. See,
Can
normal.
UML be used for KT? Like once the code is done.
Yes, yes. Like for reviews and for everything, UML is very good because you are just showing her everything. You just give KT and you're like, huh, you can go through the code now because you are just converting your UML to the code then, right? So yes.
Yeah, Kitty, one more thing. Like normally requirement comes through a business analyst to the developers, right? Or tech lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the requirements are more like what I'm expecting, what feature I'm expecting, and who will be an actor, when he will perform, and what he will perform, and what will be the output. So normally requirement are in this like structure given. So using those, are we saying then the developer should be preparing or the tech lead would be preparing an LLD? Is it?
Yes, yes. And also like right now we're just getting started and understanding the basics, right? I will tell you that how to convert the requirements to like this level also. So we'll discuss requirement gathering and all of this also in detail. So don't worry.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Okay, let's pick up more questions after 11. Just two, three more things quickly to cover. Uh, okay, so the most common principles that are used are solid, correct? And you must have also heard of solid principles everywhere in LLD and all of this. But then there are a bunch of other words also that are very famous. Uh, Not that important according to me, but I'll quickly cover them because it's a course and I have to cover everything. So quickly covering three terms that are actually famous, but not really used so much. So solid actually tells you that how to write your code and how to how to structure your code properly, versus these principles that I'm going to talk about. They are sort of conceptual, that how you should be writing the code, right? I can see most of you are talking about it. So one is kiss, one is yagni, and one is dry, right? So what does kiss stand for, guys? Dry, I can see a lot of people are saying don't repeat yourself. We will discuss this in detail. Don't worry.
Keep it
Anyone?
short and simple. Keep it
Keep
short and
it.
simple.
Is
Short
it
and
short?
simple.
Simple, stupid.
It is simple, stupid. It is not short and simple. It is simple and stupid. Don't repeat yourself. And yagni is what?
You aren't gonna need it.
You aren't gonna need it. So these are very conceptual level things. So let's try to understand. So kills is actually keep it simple, stupid. I know with simple, stupid, we think of a lot of things, right? Like short and simple, short and sweet, simple and straightforward. We use a lot of these terms, but okay, this is a full form that is related to this. So basically, as the name suggests, keep it simple, stupid. That means uh, your successful product will be done when when you believe in simplicity. So it is not just an IT thing. It is used heavily in management, engineering, all of that. Even in Navy, all of this. The guideline is that keep things simple. And you must have seen this a trend also, right? Like I don't know if you saw this, but then a lot of people nowadays go like keep your design very simple. Don't use microservices. Keep things simple. Like for HLD, even for LLD, this has become a very new trend that don't think so much, keep it straightforward, intuitive user flows, like something that gives you quick results, free, simple naming, simple testing, easily maintainable. So simple is the keyword. It is basically a guideline. Yeah, no over engineering. Yes, correct. Naveen is saying. Liagni says that you aren't gonna need it. That means you believe in extreme programming. It means that I am going to put my time and effort only in functionalities that I have to deliver right now. I am basically very lazy. If anyone asks me to do anything else, I'm going to say, you aren't going to need it, bro. I am not doing anything else. Why? Because I'm going to work on only functionalities when they are needed, as and when they are needed. I am not going to assume that, okay, tomorrow we might need this and then work on that. So actually, if you think about it, there is a good thing also, because what happens sometimes, we end up thinking that, yeah, this requirement might come tomorrow, and we might need it like this, and then we write some code. But when the requirement comes and we have like proper requirements and not the vague requirements, we realize that, oh no, we did not take this into consideration, and then we have to force fit. This might have happened, right? With some of you, that sometimes you think, oh, this might come later, and then you write some code, but when the actual requirements come, you think that, oh, now I have to force fit it, right? So don't do it. So Yagni basically says that I am going to put my time, energy only in things that I have to deliver right now. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you, you aren't going to need it. I'm going to focus on delivering current requirements. Okay.
Isn't it contradicting with extensibility?
Extensibility means that it should be extendable. Like for example, use interfaces and make it extendable. Write your code like that, but don't don't add anything that you don't need right now. Like maybe if you have been asked to deliver only info log and error log, do only that. Don't add debug log until you don't need it. But you have made it extensible because you have made an interface, right? So yeah, sort of. Yes, guys. Okay, the third one is don't repeat yourself. This obviously we have already learned that we have to, reduce the redundancies. I don't know, like HLD people will remember all these terms. Eliminate redundancy, improve maintainability, reduce repetition. Basically, it should be, and it should not be just for code. It should be across the system. It should be for testing. It should be for documentation. So the actual, the line that is used is that every piece of knowledge has a simple, unambiguous, authoritative representation. I'm reading this and telling you. So when there's an authoritative representation, it should be there only once in the code. Like it should not be repeated anywhere, in very simple terms. Does it make sense, guys? These are again very conceptual things, right? You can understand from the name itself, not very hi-fi things. The main things that we have to focus on is solid principles, design patterns, all of this. But in order to sound smart, you can speak it out in front of people, or when someone asks you, you should say that, yeah, I know that. Keep it simple, stupid. You aren't gonna need it. Don't repeat yourself. Don't, okay, Mithun is saying, can you repeat dry? So dry means don't repeat yourself. So there should be no repetition, no redundancy. Whatever code you have written, you should be able to reuse it, right? Like even for testing, even for documentation, the code part, just don't repeat it. Anywhere, your code should be reusable, as simple as that. Make sense? Everyone awake? Can I get quick thumbs up? Can I get a lot of yes, yes, yes? Repeating dry concept is like irony. True. I like such jokes. Okay. Dry is not applicable for class. True. Yes. Can I get more yes? Can I see more people being awake? Yes. Okay. Can you give an example of keep it simple, stupid? A code with, without, and with. I mean, simple is a very subjective term. No. Simple means like something might be simple for you, something might be stupid for you. Like there is no code guideline. As I'm saying, these are very conceptual things. These are not code level things. So, okay, solid doesn't come over here, guys. I wrote solid because solid is one sort of principle, and these are another principles. Like this is like solid, but solid is basically, it talks about code, that how you should structure your code. These are basically concepts. It talks about how you should write code. Like keep these things in mind. Keep things simple, like very subjective sort of things. This talks, solid talks at code level, at the designing level. Yes, these are principles like solid. Okay, cool. Can I go ahead, everyone?
I mean, when it, I'm just saying.
Hello? You got cut. Tell me.
Yeah, what I'm just saying, if solid comes as a design of any code, so what about the design patterns? So how solid is different with the design patterns?
We have not covered design pattern yet, no? Then why are you asking about design pattern? Let me
Okay.
cover things. Let me cover
Okay.
things. Then,
Okay.
yeah? Thank you.
When we say bi-directional, right? I
Bad
mean,
and all. I just keep like I'm not making fun of you. I'm just having fun. Like, don't feel bad that I said like this. Yeah, go on.
I mean, when we say bi-directional, right? How is it being implemented? It is like A has the instance of B and B also has the instance.
Okay, not has a. Bidirectional is association, first of all. So it should be A can call B and B can call A. Okay, let's talk and let's discuss an example of bidirectional association. Can you think of any example? I'm also thinking. Both can call each other. For example,
User class and reminder class.
user class and
Reminder class.
reminder class. This guy has been saying this example since the starting, that user can access all the reminders and reminder also knows that the reminder is for which user. It makes sense. Yes, correct.
Yeah, the delivery partner can give a rating to customer and customer can give a rating to delivery partner.
So what are the two classes that you're talking about over here?
Delivery partner and a customer.
Customer.
In
Okay.
food
So
delivery.
delivery partner can access customer and customer can access delivery partner. But when you talk about rating, no, actually rating will be a different class altogether. So mostly they will call the rating. But probably when they call the rating, they will probably pass like, okay, the rating is for this customer or for this delivery partner. So it does make sense. Yes. So both can access each other. Yep.
Can we say any like way where the notification, where like the other class has to notify, so that can be a part of bidirectional.
Yeah, like something like a stock and a trader, like you have stop loss and
So you're saying stock can't call trader, trader can access the stock.
but things like stop loss and all those things would involve some kind of a notification from that class to trader.
So what are the two classes? Don't give me subjective terms. Tell me what class, what are the exact two classes that you're talking?
Kirti, product and vendor.
Product and vendor.
Yeah.
Okay. So according to me, vendor should be able to access the product. Product should be also able to access vendor. So maybe it is mentioned that, okay, this product, like who is the vendor of the product, right? So yes, yes. So both can access it.
Kirti, creator and viewer on Instagram.
Creator and viewer. So viewer can see who's the creator and creator can see who's the viewer. Correct? Yes. Good example.
The earlier example that you had given for Zerodha, where customer can actually call broker and broker can call customer, does that also become association as in both directions, right?
See, broker I feel is a very broad class. Firstly, like broker means Zerodha itself. So yeah, both can call each other. Yes, but I think when we actually do the designing, no, you will see that we will convert this into smaller classes, and then we'll see like what can call each other.
Okay.
What about a customer and a wish list?
Wish list, I don't think wish list. So I think customer has a wish list. It will be a has a relationship, not a can access relationship, right? Because every customer
But
will have have a wish list.
won't a wish list need to send an alert to the customer?
Don't try to force it, first of all, and think of it like this. So customer will have wish list, right? So your wish list cannot exist without customer, no? So my entire life cycle is dependent on customer. That is why I was thinking of part of like composition.
User on Instagram.
And
Okay,
to share wish list?
this will become endless. Can we keep on like discussing forward right now, and we will take more examples, right? We will be doing designing a lot. So can you have some patience? Can we move on to the next topic for now?
Okay, Kirti, did we cover all the relationships between classes? Because
So there are usually, see, there are sub relationships and all of that, but these are the major ones. That's why I wanted to cover. If you have anything else in mind, like we will keep covering more things, that what does this mean? What does that mean in like throughout the course? But these are the major things that we wanted to cover. Okay, guys, can I move on to the next topic? Come on. Yes, last 10 minutes. I'll quickly do one quick introduction and then I'll let you guys go. Okay, thank you. So tomorrow we are actually starting design patterns, right? So if you see the week-wise curriculum that we are yet to cover factory design pattern and abstract factory design pattern that we are going to be covering tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll start looking at the code. So today let's take a quick intro of what are design patterns, why do we need them, what are the different kinds of design patterns, like a quick intro, but in detail we will understand in the coming classes. But can anyone over here, only one person, tell me what are design patterns? Raise your hand. Anyone? Raise your hand and tell me. Okay. Uh, Rekha, can you tell me what are design patterns?
Yeah, so my understanding of design pattern is it's actually a pattern or a solution which is actually kind of derived by solving previous problems. So for certain kind of problems, we can actually use certain methods to solve it or certain designs to solve it. So these are the design patterns.
Correct. Very good. See, so for beginners, let me quickly explain. So what happens is that there are a few common problems that will come across, like how we are taking a lot of examples right now, right? So there will be some common examples, some common problems that we will come across, like how to create these kind of objects, or how to structure these kind of objects, or how will they behave. So for commonly occurring problems, there is a solution that has been properly tested, like properly proven, like it has been tested for years. It has now become a standard, sort of. It is a template that if this is the problem, this is a good solution for it. Now, I can see Saurabh asking in capital, have we left solid principles? So the point is that these design patterns are basically templates, they are solutions, correct? So they follow solid principles. So when we cover design patterns one by one, you will see that each of the design pattern should be following solid principles. And we will discuss that how a design pattern is a solution to a particular problem following the solid principles. So this is making our life much easier. Why? Because now for every problem, we don't have to think, are we following SRP? Are we following OCP? Are we following DIP? You don't have to think like that because you already have a template. Now these are properly tested since years. They have been proved again and again. These are templates, right? So what you have to do now is just think of it that, okay, if this is the problem, I can use this solution. I know that they follow solid principles. So the point is that you should understand solid principles to have your foundations right. But once you actually understand design patterns, you won't have to think of solid principles so much. So that is why whenever you talk about design patterns, you have to think of solid principles. Why is Vishwanath asking what is SRP? Vishwanath, is this a joke? But okay, cool. All right. Can you, does everyone understand like an intro that what are design patterns? Yes, no, yes. Okay. So there
I
are
have,
some common, yeah.
sorry. So these design patterns are specific to the language, or it's a common for all
No,
language?
no, they are language independent. These are common guidelines. They are applicable for any object-oriented language, any language that has classes objects. So it can be applied for all of them. Okay, it is completely language independent. Okay. Now see, there are three different kinds of classes. These
Just one confusion. Somewhere people using like MVC and
and that is not the design patterns that we are talking about. We are talking about how are we going to, we are not talking about app layering or all of that. MVVM, MVVC, MVC is basically model, view model, all of that, right? WPF.
Yeah.
But here we are talking about if
So
you have
that is also calls under design patterns or
not under this kind, like these are basically object oriented programming, right? So design patterns are for these. So those are called design patterns, but they are not majorly related to object
They are
oriented.
actually called architectural patterns. Goes
Yes.
under.
yeah. No. In mobile, actually, people use MVC and MVM generally. It's not architecture actually. It
See, so this is usually used for backend development, like usually for C++, Java, Python, all of those, like, you know. So how do you structure your code? So if you have classes, objects, so how are you going to use them? How are you going to relate between these classes? That is what this design patterns cover.
So
Cool.
these are also based on classes only, like whatever just we are going to learn or something
Yes,
else.
yes, everything related to classes, objects. Okay, so see, when we talk about classes, objects, first thing that we have to talk about objects is create them, right? There can be different types of objects that we need to create. So sometimes there are different objects that, related objects, unrelated objects, something you want in a particular way. So the first type of design pattern is creational design patterns. Okay, so can anyone give examples of creational design patterns for those who know over here in the chat itself, or anyone?
Builder design
Well,
pattern, factory
Singleton.
method, abstract factory.
Prototype.
Factory, singleton, builder,
Cycle.
all. Yes.
Prototype.
Yep. So we are going to cover a lot of design patterns over the next few days. And for every design pattern, we will understand that why is it a creational design pattern or why is it not a creational design pattern. We'll discuss in detail. We will see the UML. We will look at the code also. Okay. What is the other one? Does anyone know what is the other design pattern, like the other type?
Behavioral and structural.
Yes. So one of the questions that came yesterday was, what is the difference between structural and behavioral? Let me explain in terms of the definition, or in general, what is the guideline, what is structural and what is behavioral. Then when we pick up every example, every design pattern, when we pick up, we will at that time also understand that why is this a structural design pattern or why is it a behavioral design pattern. So basically, whenever your focus is on key, how are you going to structure these classes and form a bigger system, like the complex system that you're working on, say Swiggy, Uber, how are these classes related to each other? That is structural design pattern. Versus, like as the name suggests, like behavior means maybe runtime behavior is different, or based on some input, the behavior is different. All of that will come in behavioral design pattern. Like strategy pattern, we will learn all of this. Don't worry. I'm just doing a quick introduction. Like in strategy pattern, what we do, we see that what are the different strategies and we change the behavior. So that's a behavioral design pattern. Similarly, command state that you guys were talking about, all those are behavioral. Versus how do you structure them together? Like bridge, composite, decorator, all of this will come under structure. It is okay if you don't understand this properly right now. All you need to understand right now is that design patterns are basically templates, and we are going to try solving very commonly occurring problem. And this is a standard solution. It is well tested. It is well proven. It is a standard practice that is used in daily work, also in interviews. Also in daily work, you can go and say, oh, this is the problem. Let's use factory design pattern, or let's use this design pattern. Even in interviews, I have implemented, like in one interview, I have implemented 2 to 3 design patterns. Daily work, I have implemented so many design patterns. So it is extremely important. Okay, do you get rough intro? It is okay. I know you must be having a lot of doubts right now, even for the UML, for solid principles. When we cover each of the design pattern, we will see how is it following solid principles, what is the UML, the code in C++ and in Java. These 3 things we will do for every single design pattern, and whatever you have learned till now, it will become much more clearer. Okay?
Can you please brief one's creational design pattern?
So whenever you're creating objects, like for example, singleton, I don't know if you have heard of it, you make sure that you are creating only one object, right? or factory when you're creating similar objects. So you will look at the examples. But whenever you're creating the objects, it is creational design patterns. Whenever you are structuring them together, structural design pattern. Whenever you are changing the behavior based on some parameters, it is behavioral design pattern. Make sense? Yes? Okay, this brings me to the end of the class. I know first two classes I am ending, like I'm keeping them short, simple, right? From tomorrow, we are starting the code, guys. So please, right? Please interact with your group mates and become like a group and be more active on Discord. I'm going to give you homework also. Yes. Also, if you guys don't mind, since we have 10 minutes left, can we take a quick video or photo? Can you all turn on your videos? Is it possible? Can you all turn on your videos?
Can you explain structure one again?
So structural design pattern is basically structuring how will the different classes interact with each other, how will the structure happen like between the classes. We will take examples. Relax, it's okay. Oh, Vinay is sitting, are you in hostel, Vinay? Are you guys attending classes like with your friends? More than one people attending? Nice.
He took the, you can see both of them.
Nice, nice.
Sitting
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm giving you 2-3 minutes. Let others also turn on their cameras and then probably we can take a video. Okay. Yes. Bad thing about Teams is that I cannot have many people on one screen and take video. Okay. Guys, the classes are going at okay pace, no? I don't want to make it very fast right now. But are the classes okay? Yes, no. Smile, no. Was I so bad? Such bad faces you guys are making. Good. Nice. It's good to see your faces because I just hear voice a bit here and there. I like seeing you smile. Thank you. Okay. So many people have turned on the cameras. Thank you. Okay. So we will see you tomorrow. And okay, please do two favors for me. Firstly, please talk to your group mates and do all of that connect. Secondly, whatever doubts you have till now, instead of asking tomorrow at the start of the class, please ask on Discord. I will assign some time and I will pick it up accordingly, right? Because otherwise it is hard for me to manage time, right? If I keep picking up a lot of questions, others might find it boring. So let me put it in the flow and cover it properly. So please post your questions group chat on the Discord, and please keep it active. Please ask as many questions as possible. I don't understand why Sandeep is asking to move to Zoom, because I compared Zoom versus Team. The experience is similar only. Whatever reviews I saw online, the experience is literally similar. If you see the lagging and all, that is because of the internet connection. If you see reviews, the Teams is actually as good as Zoom's. So that is why. Groups, I guess you guys joined late for those who are asking. So groups will be available. Like I will be sharing a sheet today. I've already made it with the quiz notes, everything. I will be sharing the sheet today. Okay. And cool. Anything else? Like anything else you have in mind? Tomorrow we will start writing the code, C++, Java. So someone was asking, will it be live coding? The thing is that it is not possible to code everything like live, right? Because I'll be doing in C++ and Java. So I will write like in advance, but we will go through every line like in the class properly for both C++, Java. We'll look at the UML diagram. I will do the prep in advance so that we don't end up wasting time. Because if I start writing during the class, if I do int main return 0, you guys are going to leave. I know that. So I have to do the prep in advance. Cool. Yep. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. Please do share your feedback on the Discord. Please remain connected on the Discord. Today's homework is just the quiz and connecting with your group mates and forming a GitHub link. Form one GitHub link either for a group or for all of you, like separately. And then tomorrow we will start working on the code. Okay. Sure. And please be consistent. Please don't leave in the middle. Please attend all the 5 weeks. Yes.
You'll actually send the group information.
Yeah,
When
I
will
will send
we?
Discord and on mail tonight with the quiz
Okay.
and the notes and the recording.
Sounds good. Thank
Yep.
you.
So in which context, Kirti, we are creating the groups?
So I have created groups according to the form that you have filled. If I have not filled it, you wouldn't be assigned to a group. Please fill it if you haven't done that. Based
Where
on the,
is available?
it is there on the in the content section also. Plus, you must have received a mail. Unless you signed up for the course today or yesterday, you must not have received the mail. But like I sent the mail yesterday, so it is there in the content section. As soon as you go, like you will be able to see fill this up, right? So fill out the form. I have assigned you to the groups based on the language you prefer and on the number of years of experience that you have. So that similar people are connected together.
Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. If you face any issues, anything at all, please Discord. I would love to answer and please keep it active. Please ask all the doubts. Yep. All right. Request you to please share some more UML diagrams to practice than what we have learned today. Thanks in advance. Okay, let me see. Anyway, I'll be sharing UML of literally every design pattern and every design that we'll be covering like in the next few classes. Let me see. Okay.
Can you share your GitHub repo link?
Now, okay, let me give me 1 second. I'll share it now. Okay. Here you go.
Can you please share in Discord also? This will get like
I'll
we'll not be able to access.
Don't worry, don't worry. Anyway, you can just search github.com/Kirti Pursani. That is it. Otherwise, I'll share it on Discord as well. Don't worry. Cool. All right. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Have a good night. Sleep well. See you tomorrow. Don't miss the class. Don't miss the class. Yeah. Bye.
Bye guys. Thank you.
Someone is asking, can we download the notes? I already answered this on the Discord. So you will be able to download the notes on app. I will be sharing the links to iOS and Android app by this weekend. Hopefully, you'll be able to download there. Okay. Cool. See you. Bye.